Hey Red Wings fans, welcome to the Forecheck. I'm Carley Johnston, joined by Art Regner. Art, thanks for being here.
My pleasure, Carley. You know that.
We're in the media gondola hanging over the main ice at Little Caesars Arena, where the Red Wings are practicing for the week ahead, which starts Wednesday on Thanksgiving Eve as they play host to the Boston Bruins. It's an original six matchup, as I said, Thanksgiving Eve. Art, it's going to be a packed house.
It's going to be a packed house. It's a traditional game. The Red Wings usually play the day before Thanksgiving at home. Boston's a great opponent, and it begins and ends with that first line, at least in my opinion. David Pastrnak, Patrice Bergeron, and then Brad Marchand. By far, I think the best line in hockey right now. These guys make everything go for the Bruins, and really Pastrnak is leading the team in goals. He's one of the goal leaders in the league, and then you've got Bergeron, the best two-way center in the league, and then of course little Brad, I'll lick your face, Marchand, who is a little pest. So they're great. And then you go back onto the back end, and Charlie McAvoy's been hurt, so I'm not sure if he's going to be playing or not. He's kind of touch and go day to day right now, but he's great. And then Zdeno Chara, the ageless wonder on the back end. And then you go in net, which is really interesting because Tuukka Rask rides up and down. He's kind of not doing very well right now. So Yaroslav Halak has been the goaltender for them. So it'll be a challenge for the Red Wings. But, with the goaltending situation a little shaky in Boston, although, as I said, Halak has been great. Red Wings, and I think they owe the Bruins a little payback. So it should be a great game.
Then on Friday, the Red Wings will be in Washington, taking on the Capitals, led by none other than the Grade A, Alex Ovechkin. They had a great time celebrating this summer, Art.
Well, I think he should change his name after that celebration to Crazy 8 because he was just nuts. He was everywhere over the summer, and rightly so. You can see how much it means to win the Stanley Cup, just the way Alex Ovechkin conducted himself. For years, the Russians always had that stigma that they didn't care about winning the Stanley Cup. Well, I think that has been disproven. He's one of the best players in the world. He has been. I really like Ovechkin. And then his countryman, Evgeny Kuznetsov, who also is a premier player. So up front, they're loaded. They're going to score goals. And once Ovechkin gets hot, you just can't stop him. On the back end, it begins with John Carlson. He's one of the premier defensemen in the league. He's big. He's fast. He can do it all. He plays both ends. And then Braden Hope in net. I mean, this team, they won the Stanley Cup for a reason because they're very, very good. And they're going to be a challenge for the Red Wings.
Then on Saturday, the Wings close out the week at home here at Little Caesars Arena as they play host to the Buffalo Sabres. The Sabres obviously were the last in the league last season, but how are they looking this time around?
Well, they're starting to live up to their potential, and I think it begins up front with Jack Eichel. He's the captain, really good friends with Dylan Larkin. They played together at the development program when it was in Ann Arbor. Now it's in Plymouth, and then they have Jeff Skinner. That was a move that I think people kind of forgot. Jeff Skinner was kind of lost in Carolina, but he has really come on and meshed really, really well with the Sabres. So then you go on the back end, and Red Wing fans are going to see him, and I know they lamented it, but Rasmus Dahlin will be in town for the first time. One of many, many encounters between Rasmus and the Red Wings, so it'll be interesting to see him. And then you go in net, and it's Carter Hutton, who was like the premier free agent goalie last season. And the Red Wings, they had a decision. They liked Hutton a lot, but they really thought, well, maybe we'll go with Jonathan Bernier. So they chose Bernier, and now Hutton's starting in Buffalo. And I think, like most people thought, he's had ups and downs, but he's not used to being a starter. So again, if the Red Wings, who are starting to find their way a little bit here, if they can get to Carter Hutton, it could be a good night Saturday night here at Little Caesars Arena against the Sabres.
I know we touched a bit on Rasmus Dahlin of the Buffalo Sabres, but how about a Red Wings prospect, Jared McIsaac, who's tearing it up in the queue?
Well, Jared McIsaac was drafted in the second round by the Red Wings, and he looks like he's going to be a find. Again, he could have gone in the first round in the draft, but he fell to the Red Wings in the second round. They feel very fortunate. He was really good in the prospects tournament. He was doing well at development camp as well and in training camp, but then he hurt his shoulder, and he missed a little bit of time with Halifax. Since he's been back in his first 14 games, he has 14 points and is a plus 10, and he's a former teammate of Filip Zadina. So those two guys are really tight. They're really close. So there's somebody that I think the Red Wing fans are going to like. He's going to be in Detroit, I think, a little bit sooner than we originally thought. He's kind of being fast-tracked right now. If he continues to perform like he has at Halifax thus far, as I said, 14 points in 14 games, he could be in the red and white very, very soon.
Fans, don't forget the Red Wings are playing at home twice this week, Wednesday against the Boston Bruins, and then Saturday against the Buffalo Sabres. For tickets, head over to the Xfinity box office or DetroitRedWings.com. That's it for this week's The Forecheck. Art, it's always a pleasure.
Pleasure's all mine, Carly. All mine.
All right, guys, we'll see you next week.